I'm nervous.
Yeah, this one ended on a cliffhanger like one of Kevin's stories.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is why I'm watching The Midnight Club, Season 1, Episode 6.
Which?
Yeah, we're really in it now, Ariana.
Oh, Ariana, we're really in it now.
So the story wasn't there like a story in the beginning? Oh, it was the rest of Kevin, or the second half of Kevin's.
Yeah.
What was his name? The killer?
Oh, crap.
His killer.
Yeah.
And the orders are coming from his mom.
Yeah.
She creepy climbs into bed. That's one of my biggest like ghost fears.
Something in the bed with you?
Rolling over, because I toss and turn and rolling over and having something, because we talked about this once before, like probably maybe even on our very first episode, but it was in the miniseries Rose Red, and my brain at like 14 wasn't prepared to handle that.
Sure.
And so I think about it now, and I remember, I am fairly certain the hotel we stayed at in Chicago for Jack's wedding was haunted, not in a bad way, but the second Jen had a flight where she left for the airport at like 4 a.m, and the second I was alone, I was literally in bed like, I am not alone. I could not sleep.
Was it a victim of the Great Chicago Fire?
I could not. I literally laid on my back like this until it was light enough.
You had a similar experience like that in Miami.
I did. And I got confirmation of that.
Yep.
Ghost. Those are the only two real interactions I had. That's not what this is about, though.
Nope. Also, his name is Dusty.
Dusty.
Yeah.
Well, he killed his little brother. Well,
he
the actor
killed
who plays
Kevin's little brother. Yeah.
But it seems like it was the only male victim.
Yeah.
And also the only victim that he was not ordered to do.
It wasn't intended.
And all the while still going about his love life with Sheila.
Yeah.
And the detectives are maybe closing in on him. Well, Sheila proposed that it was maybe a
kid,
a young person, and Detective Dr. Stanton Clarice was sort of like, I don't think so, but then she was really going in on him.
Yeah.
And
like maybe you slip up, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
And so his demon mom demanded
what the fuck?
demanded Sheila next, and that's where he ran out of steam.
Yeah.
So he
and then Ilanka started telling her story.
It was nice. It was giving me a little bit what I was saying, where I was like, I wouldn't hate to see Mike Flanagan do something fantasy, or do like, let's get some practical magic. You know what I mean? Let's get some whimsy in here. Yeah. Whimsy. And so her story version self, I cannot with the names.
Yeah, it's
and
like
as mentioned, IMDb is no help.
It was Imani.
Imani, that's right.
Because her name is Iman.
Mm-hmm.
In real life.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. So Imani and her mother were witches, and long line of witches that could each do different things. And her witch mother was teaching her how to scry, but never to do it at night. And then her witch mother died trying to help a girl, and
who had already died from a gunshot wound.
Where I thought they were going with that was, I was thinking something was going to happen to Imani, and her mother was going to have needed that energy to fix Imani.
Fix her. Gotcha.
And she wasted it on wasted it
yeah.
on the other girl. That's what I was anticipating, but so in her grief she forgot, which I was glad they gave us that tidbit.
Yeah.
And she cried at night and saw a boy being shot in a robbery, and then, wouldn't you know, she met this boy in a blind date, and it was Kevin, who, as we have already mentioned, is a cutie, made even cutier by the addition of the world's greatest haircut that has ever existed. New people think this is a joke.
It's not.
It's not a joke. A 90s middle part, no haircut has ever been more flattering.
Also, I don't agree with him. So please do not paint us with the same brush.
This Venn diagram is not a perfect circle. It's
not a circle. I think that haircut works on like maybe 3 people. One of them is Skeet like, Ulrich in the original Scream.
It was kind of a janky wig, though.
It was not great. None of their wigs are like incredible,
considering that the one that Sherry gave her was from the maker of a $10,000 wig. So, and then she tried to prevent it, but ended up altering the path of time and history, and sacrificed her friend Anya something.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper.
Scotty.
Man.
It's coming to me as it's happening. But then he got shot anyway.
Well, we don't know.
Someone got shot. Yeah,
because they in the story, history is like a rubber band and it snaps back at you, and so it was in the process of snapping back when Anya fainted.
Yes.
And so Anya is not doing well. There was sepsis or something. Yeah. And so they talked about it, and Ilanka went into the woods again.
She decided she was going to do the ritual from the book for Anya.
Beforehand?
Yeah.
She had already
That's why she was going into the woods, because she needed the water.
There's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
There are plates spinning in several kitchens in this show. But she went in and saw Shasta. Yeah. I'm just so on edge because I can't place anybody. And I would kind of love if that was the point. Mm-hmm. If that was what we were getting to, is the whole no one way is the right way, or no one way is good or evil, or because Shasta felt very strong in her convictions, and granted, I mean, she was the one bringing up blood rights, and that's just a line for me.
Well, the blood right is in the book.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like Shasta's idea. She just was like, you're going to need my blood too, because you need 5 goddesses.
That was a choice on Ilanka's part to not tell the other people. If you're entering into a blood covenant with people, they need to know who they're entering into it with.
Yeah.
And Sandra was having a hard time coming around, and I gotta be honest, I was largely on Sandra's side whole episode.
I was like, I don't know that I could say I was on her side, but I understood.
If you are raised this way, that line they asked her to cross is a chasm.
No, for sure. It's not, and I'm not saying I'm against her side. I understand where she was coming from and how that was a hard limit for her. And I think I actually almost would have preferred, because she ended up showing up and she was like, I will be here in support in my way. And then she just fucking went and did it. And so I was like,
scared.
Oh.
Because I was sort of like, for me, the issue is it's not judgment. Because, I have dabbled in both Christianity and mysticism, the Wiccan mysticism, yada, yada. And so for me, it's like, it needs to be a decision she's making. I really was objecting to them sort of like pushing and even a little bit belittling her.
Sure.
Because I think though a lot of the language that she's using is understandably triggering to many of us, she herself was not.
Correct.
Has not been crossing lines.
Correct.
And I liked the compromise that she would bear witness. Mm-hmm. And part of me wanted to see that unfold. Yeah. Wanted to see the version where she doesn't dive in, you know. Also, we were asked in our Q&A, which is coming in like a couple of days, about our favorite and least favorite, like, cliches and tropes and stuff. And one of our hand to God least favorite, top 3, I would say, is the slitting of the palm for, like, because, I mean, you need a pinprick.
Yeah.
A pinprick would do when you're doing that kind of stuff. Like, and it's so impractical.
You need, like, 1 drop for the bucket of water, 1 drop for the fire, and then smear it on Anya's forehead.
It's so much. Sorry, I got to. It's so much a thing that Fairytale plug.
Yeah.
That plot is required of Fairytale, and the character cuts the back of her arm.
Yeah.
Because when you are fleeing for your life, as often is the case, you need your hands.
You need the little pinchers.
You need to be able to do this.
Yeah. What if you have to climb a rope?
And the way that they're gouging these knives into their...
They were like going so hard.
I mean, I know it's the theatrics of it all, hence one of our least favorite tropes.
I also did, the whole time I was getting nervous, and then Spencer did have his own knife, and I was like, hey.
Well, up until here, we were sort of like, what's the matter? They're all dying.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, the point of this whole endeavor
is so that they won't.
Also, Sandra's the one who tried to spook them with the don't, correct?
Well, I would say it's either Sandra or it's Dr. Stanton.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it's not me overthinking. I'm hoping that they do give us.
I still think she's probably Athena because I feel like there has to be a reason why because also she bought it only like a couple of years after that like tragedy or whatever. So it's like,
well, and I know that this isn't this is based on a book, and I know this isn't paying homage to this thing in this way, but considering that the phrase defy gravity was used several times in this, they're giving me a Glinda and Elphaba, where it's sort of like pros and cons to both ways, and maybe they've both made mistakes, but maybe they both have points.
Okay.
And so I'm getting that sort of, but I just can't place who is the good witch and who's the bad witch.
Yeah.
And it negates what I literally just said about how there's pros and cons to both. You hopefully understand what I'm saying.
I get it.
There's just certain lines that can't be uncrossed. There's certain things that can't be undone. And when you're dealing with this level of magic and fantasy and occult, this was a big one.
Yeah.
And I'm nervous.
Well, they literally all were like, what's the worst that can happen? And I'm like, because you were like, I hope they don't get Anya dragged to hell.
Well, I said Sandra for betraying her. Yeah,
Sandra,
but
okay.
Anya too. I was like, do you want to get dragged to hell? Because this is how you get dragged to hell.
Well, and the like shadow monster was coming for her at the end.
And one of them had an Evil Dead poster in their room, so I'm like,
That is in Kevin's story.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You're good at this.
I actually wonder if the shadow thing is not scary. If the shadow thing is benevolent.
It cannot be, because I question that because it had the red eyes the way that Dr. Stanton the Devil had the red eyes. And because I cannot imagine it's benevolent. I can imagine it's maybe neutral that this is a Grim Reaper type situation. Sure. And I just sort of the show has set me up. I went from having no stakes to having in a fine way.
Yeah.
To having moderate expectations, and I'm unconvinced that the show is going to actually go where I'm desiring it to.
Sure. And
I feel like it probably should and will, because Mike Flanagan hasn't let me down, but there's always a first.
I don't think this is going to let us down. I just think it's going to be slightly hollower than we're used to from him.
I'm kind of in a I want Angel's place. We've been we've been teasing it.
Yeah.
We're in a real Teen Wolf Merblurkers place.
Merblurkers, yeah, we sure are.
That's a deep cut. Hey, Bryce Peterson.
Hi.
You're not watching, but we love you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we're going. Yeah. So
well, there's 4 left. So
5, 4. Now I'm even more scared. And also, is this meant to be another one and done?
I think so. Otherwise, you're gonna have to start cycling out kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're old enough that they could.
They're terminally ill.
Oh, well, in that regard, I thought you meant like the actors were gonna age out. Like, yes, absolutely. We're I don't think we're ending this show with all of these kids.
No.
Oh, maybe. Because actually, the only one we've lost is Tristan. So
also, if the ritual works, then who knows? Yeah.
Unconvinced.
I feel dicey.
Also, Mark has been...
He's been absent.
For 2.
Yeah.
So, okay, like and subscribe and buy Fairytale and Patreon. And if you like, comment and thumbs up, that helps us the most. And you can tip and you can do all kinds of things. We do all sorts of this stuff. So take a look.
It's in a book. Okay, bye.